I never had any problems in pregnancy. I just want to say that I never had. I had I had my first child. Well, I got pregnant with my first kid at 17, and I had him when I turned my very first turned 18, and so I was a young single mother. Had him, and he'll be 14 this year. And then I fell in love with my husband, and we had a couple more kids. Well, we had 3 more kids, but so what I'm trying to say is all my pregnancies were normal. I didn't have any miscarriages. I was always able very easily to get pregnant. No problems whatsoever. And I had 3 hospital births, and my 4th child was a home birth. It was awesome. I just wanted to have that experience of home birthing and try that, because I'm the kind of person that likes to try everything, especially challenges, and I feel like if anybody else can do it, then why couldn't I? And so I did that. I'm pretty determined, and it was scary, but I did it. And mind you, I did all my labor and deliveries with epidurals, like right from the get-go. Like, I didn't want to feel any of the pain. But lo and behold, I got midwives and was going to have a water birth and everything, and my 4th son, Grayson, he came out with a vengeance. I mean, I'm telling you, he came in 45 minutes. My water broke, and boom, he was out. I was standing up in the shower, and he just slipped out of me. That is just, I'll have to go more into that story later, but I primarily just wanted to do a video and just do a little bit about what's been going on. So I found out we found out we were pregnant with our 5th, like I was telling you, and that's why I was preempting this by saying I had no problems. I had a home birth. I was planning to do another home birth with my 5th. We found out at our 18-week sonogram that we were having another boy. We already had 3 boys and 1 girl, and we were excited. I love my boys. There's just nothing like a boy. They're so sweet, and I love my little girl too, but they are different. So needless to say, we were having a boy, and we named him Chase. We came up with the name, and let's just get to the point. June 16th, it was a Saturday morning. We went to the farmer's market. I wanted to get some raw honey that I like to buy from our local organic farmer. And I was having cramps. It's kind of hard to talk about. I don't know how much I want to get into, but I was having some cramps, and I just thought they were Braxton Hicks. And I was just thinking, I was in my 21st, almost 22nd week. And, seeing as how I had a precipitous labor with my 4th, and he just came, fast, and I just figured with my 5th child, I was having early Braxton Hicks. Well, on the drive home, I was getting cramps, and then by the time I got home, I was bleeding a little bit, and I still wasn't really that concerned, because it's pretty normal to have bleeding in pregnancy, and a little bit of spotting, and it really wasn't major, and a little cramping too, because your uterus is growing, and being that it was my 5th, I really wasn't that concerned. Pardon me for, I first want to say that I'm kind of hiding in my teenager's room to do this video. Everyone's sleeping in the house, and I have a really nice HD webcam, but I'm using my camera phone, well, my husband's camera phone, so forgive me, I wasn't even prepared. I just decided to do this and stop putting it off. Anyways, so to make a long story short, maybe we can get into that a little bit more later, like I don't know about telling all the details, but what ended up happening is I started bleeding heavily, and my water broke, and this all happened within an hour of leaving the farmer's market. I was 22 weeks. I knew right then and there that was trouble, because I'm experienced, and I know that when your water breaks, that's it. You're having a baby. There's really no turning back. And I cannot tell you what was going through my mind other than sheer panic and desperation, to be honest with you. And I'm going to try not to cry. Anyway, My husband drove me about 90 miles an hour down to the hospital. We live about 30 or so minutes from the hospital. And I'm covered in blood. I'm covered in amniotic fluid. And I go in there, and a lady rushes, I get out of the car, and there's a nurse there who's wheeling another mother with her newborn down to her car. And she sees me, and she sees my face, and I'm in sheer panic. And I just scream, I'm 22 weeks pregnant and my water broke. And she immediately said, I gotta go. And she told the lady, gotta go, I gotta take her. And so she put me in the wheelchair and wheeled me up. And before you know it, I had nurses, doctors, everybody poking and prodding me and doing all kinds of things to me that was very traumatic. The whole event was very traumatic. And I hadn't been there but a short time when I was informed by the doctor, and a very kind of it was just nothing to them. It was very routine. So it was very frustrating to me because I had never had this happen. It was my 5th child, and I had never had miscarriages. I had never had any problems. So I was in complete and total shock. I just figured everything was going to go normal with this pregnancy, like all of them. But they said immediately, if the baby's born, he will not be viable outside of the womb. And my husband and I just didn't want to believe what they were saying. We were just shocked, dumbfounded, in denial. It was all happening so fast. And, they did an ultrasound, and they wanted to see if the amniotic fluid was gone off the baby. And it was. Sure enough, the amniotic fluid was gone. And I was just hoping and praying and thinking, there's got to be a way. There's got to be a way to save him, because they were saying, no, he can't be saved. And I was thinking, well, I've known people that have had 1-pound babies. I know people have preemies and they survive. But they were telling me, no, he won't. So we saw the ultrasound, and we saw his little heart beating strong. It was 163 beats per minute. He was alive, and he was thriving in there, and nothing was wrong with him whatsoever, except for the water broke. And to this day, there's no reason as to why it happened, and that's really a hard part. But I'll get more into to my afterthoughts on that after I'm done with the story. So the doctor, they basically weren't going to stop labor, but the labor had stopped on its own after I got into the hospital for whatever reason. And I was in there for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably 8 hours. Well, 7, something like that, 7 or 8 hours before labor stopped again. And they had told us if I don't go into labor, then they're going to give me antibiotics, and they're going to keep me in the hospital for up to 2 months, so that he can get to at least, they said 29, 30 weeks, but, that was what the goal was, is to keep me pregnant in the hospital on bed rest. And I have all this stuff going through my head thinking, okay, I have 4 kids at home, I homeschool them, and how am I going to be in the hospital for 2 months? But we were like, okay, whatever it takes, to keep Chase alive and to do what we need to do to have a healthy baby. But that was all short-lived thoughts, because I ended up going into labor, which they didn't want to believe me that I was in labor, but I knew I was. And they gave me some morphine. He wouldn't stop labor, which I was actually pretty furious about. I was just thinking, I know you guys can stop labor. I know they could have done something, because I actually later learned that there are women that had their water break and said that amniotic fluid replenishes itself, and her doctor kept her out of labor 3 times. Of course, she ended up losing her baby, but I don't know if the doctor was trying to save me from that agony or what he was doing, but he just wasn't willing to do that. They couldn't force me to have the baby, and he wouldn't force me to not have the baby. So I ended up giving birth to him. It was very traumatic. Just the way it happened. I'm not going to get into some of the details It was vaginal. It wasn't very hard, but they had to do, it was just, never mind, I won't tell that part of it. It was just, I can remember it being extremely traumatic, and tears are running down my face, and I'm just feeling like I'm being raped of my child. It's kind of hard to describe how that feels, but he came out, and he was less than a pound. We didn't even know he was, I thought I felt him come out, but I was on medication. I was like, you know what, and in another circumstance where he would be healthy, I was planning on having a natural home birth, but I didn't want to feel any of this pain. I didn't want to feel the emotional pain, the physical pain, so I just said, dope me up. And dope me up good, because I was traumatized beyond belief. So I thought I felt him coming, but they didn't announce that he was out. And that really upset me, and it still kind of upsets me. Because we were praying and hoping that, they said that if he was a pound, that they would try to save him. But if he was under a pound, that they wouldn't try to save him. And the doctor cut his umbilical cord, and the nurse, I didn't even know any of this happened. My husband's crying and praying, and the nurse calls out from across the room and says, he doesn't have a heartbeat. Would you like to see him? Would you like to hold him? And we were shocked. We were like, what? He's out? They didn't say, okay, well, we have him out. They didn't give us any warning, So that was really hard. So we ended up holding him. He was beautiful. His name was Chase Grant. He was perfect. Little feet, toes, elbows, beautiful, perfect lips. He looked like his siblings. He had a little tongue, little gums. He looked like a perfect newborn, except not as chubby, and obviously not as big. He was 10.5 inches long, and 500, or I forget how many grams, 462 grams, I think, and they needed him to be like 500 grams to save him. I don't know. That whole thing just was upsetting. I just felt like they should try to save him no matter what, in my opinion, but it would have been hard, and he wouldn't have had a good life, and I don't know. So it's been really tough. I was beyond devastated, and I still am. That happened June 16th. So it's been a couple months almost, and I'm moving forward. Right now I would have been just hitting my 3rd trimester. So it's really hard. So anyway, so that's why I started this YouTube channel, was for an outlet, something to focus on and for myself. One of my biggest things is that I need to lose weight. I have quite a bit of weight to lose. I'm tall and I'm big boned, and I hold my weight pretty well, but I have quite a bit of weight to lose. I need to lose. We'll talk more about how much later. I'm not going to get into numbers and stuff right now, but I want to track my weight loss and have this be an accountability place to follow my weight loss, and then also mix in some videos about health products and recipes and things that I'm into, and just random videos like that. Kid videos, homeschooling videos. It'll be pretty random because, that's how I am. I'm pretty random with stuff. So sometimes I'll be talking about my weight loss, and maybe I'll make it like a weekly thing. Maybe I'll do like a weekly weigh-in, check-in, what have you. But I also will just pick up the camera like I did today and start rambling about whatever's on my mind. We're getting ready to start a new school year with our homeschooling. I have an 8th grader that I'm homeschooling, and I have a 1st grader, and then I have my 4-year-old daughter who I'll be teaching how to read soon, and I have a 22 month, I think he's 22 months now. And so anyway, so we're busy a lot, and the videos will be, like I said, here and there when I can. And unless I make a commitment and say, okay, every Thursday, every Saturday, whatever, I'm weighing in and stuff, and it might get to that point. And then also I have family in other states, so this YouTube channel is also a good chance for them to see what's going on with me.